Denisha Montgomery Smith was a 27-year-old private first class in the Army. A year into her Army contract, when she was stationed at Fort Stewart, she was sent to Wiesbaden, Germany for a 9-month tour. Denisha appeared to be doing well in the Army. However, 1 month shy of her return back to Fort Stewart, her family was notified that Denisha took her own life. Denisha's family was shocked, not only about Denisha's death and her cause of death, but they were shocked because 3 weeks before she died, she had told them that she had been assaulted by 3 other soldiers. Now, 4 months after Denisha's death, Denisha's family is still asking, what really happened to Denisha Montgomery Smith? Welcome back, True Crime Army. I am your host, Mama Margot, and this is my True Crime channel, which is a bridge between my YouTube content and also my podcast, which is my primary form of content, and it's a podcast called Military Murder. If you are interested in all things newsworthy and true crime, then you've come to the right place. I will be uploading 2 videos a month. So if you're interested in true crime in video and story format, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I just released episode 124 on Denisha Montgomery Smith, but I created this video because I wanted to show you rather than just tell you about Denisha's life. Denisha's sister, Brooklyn Price, has been working diligently to share Denisha's story because she sees the value in information sharing, and so here we are. I encourage everyone to follow Brooklyn's TikTok because she shares a lot of information about Denisha and she gives us status updates almost every single day, and this is her handle right here. Denisha Montgomery Smith was born on May 31st, 1995 in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, to mother Heather Clark and father Rodney Montgomery Jr. When the relationship between Heather and Rodney did not work out, they went their separate ways and continued to grow their families. When Denisha was 4 years old, her mother gave birth to Brooklyn, and when Denisha was 6 years old, her father welcomed Jada into the family. Denisha was a common denominator for the 3 sisters, and they were inseparable. Brooklyn shared with me that because Denisha was the older sister, she was always in charge. But she was really like her second mom, because Heather was busy trying to make ends meet for their family. During her adolescence, Denisha was a busybody. She was always out working, she was getting her schoolwork done, and she was playing soccer. But as soon as Denisha was old enough, she moved out of the house and she began dating a man named Joshua Smith. They soon moved in together, and throughout the years, they welcomed 3 little boys into this world. When Brooklyn was sharing her story with me, she told me that she and Denisha grew up in a low-income household. So the 2 of them always wanted to make things better for their families and for their futures. With that, Brooklyn in 2018 decided to join the Army, and her family was super supportive. While Brooklyn was out in the Army doing good for herself, Denisha was curious about the Army. And in 2020, she asked her sister, so do you like it? Give me the lowdown. And she even was like, wait, so the Army will cover insurance for the whole family? Brooklyn was like, yeah, military benefits are pretty good. But by no means was she trying to encourage her sister to join the Army. In fact, Brooklyn shared with me that she didn't think Denisha was a good fit because Denisha was so headstrong. So it definitely came as a surprise to Brooklyn when Denisha called her one day and was like, hey, I signed up for the Army. Denisha ended up officially joining the Army in January of 2021, but before she joined the Army, her and her husband tied the knot. Soon after Denisha got married, Brooklyn got engaged, but she didn't want to have a big fancy wedding until her sister was done with all that initial training that happens within a year or 2 of being in the military. So let's fast forward to Denisha's time in the Army. During the first year, Denisha was separated from her husband and her 3 kids a lot for training. But in 2022, she was notified that she would be PCSing, meaning moving, to Fort Stewart. Denisha was a military police officer, which was great, and it really played into what Denisha wanted for her future. You see, Denisha wanted to do 1 tour in the Army, and then she wanted to leave the Army, become a civilian police officer, but ultimately her life goal was to become a forensic scientist. When Denisha arrived at Fort Stewart, her family joined her, but almost as soon as she set foot into her unit, she was notified that they would be deploying for 9 months. They were going specifically to Germany. For many, Germany is considered a pretty cush assignment. And so when Brooklyn found out she was going to be deploying to Germany, she was like, oh, that's going to be great. Time is going to fly. You'll be back in no time. When Denisha left for Germany, she was in constant communication with her family. Her husband and the 3 kids, they had moved on post and they were living at Fort Stewart. It should be noted that when Denisha was in Germany, she was stationed with the 139th Military Police Company. While Denisha was in Germany, she never really had any complaints. Her vibe was, she kind of had like a chill vibe to her. But everything changed on July 19th, 2022, when she called her family via the WhatsApp video app and she asked them to record the conversation. Here are a few snippets from that call.
We all went to the water park and we was all drinking, and I don't know why everyone's mad at me. I don't know why. But they was being mean to me in the car, so I was like, just let me out of the car. But they wouldn't let me out of the car. And then all this happened.
Did this happen last night?
It happened about 2 hours ago. Josh, screen record this. Look at this. Look, I have more and more that keep popping up. Do this.
Please press. If you are calling about an existing flight to complete a short survey at the end of your experience with us today, your feedback will help us change.
Where's my mom?
Heather, Nisha wants you.
Hi, honey.
Mom,
Yeah.
Mom, I want to come home.
Well,
They was covering my mouth like this. They was doing that to me in the car. This
honey.
is all I wanted to do. Mom, this is all I wanted to do. I just want to
Brooke-
come home. Look what they did to
Brooklyn.
me.
Oh my god.
Where's that from?
I don't know.
That looks like a knife or something.
They choked me out. Look, they was doing that to me in the car. I kept telling them, I was like, I can't breathe. I was like, I can't breathe. I was gasping for air. I was like, bro, I ain't never been so scared in my life. I thought I was going to die in the car, bro.
All right, honey. So tomorrow, what's supposed to happen?
I'm going to talk to CID tomorrow.
And what? Tell them that you just want to get out, or what?
I'm telling them that I don't want to be here no more. I'll do whatever I have to do. Mom. I can't be here no more. I don't trust them. I don't trust my leadership. I don't want to be here with none of them no more.
Okay, honey.
So on July 19th, Denisha went to a local water park with a few soldiers. They spent the day drinking and going on different rides, but on the car ride home, something changed. Denisha shared with her family on that phone call that 3 of the 4 soldiers who were in the vehicle attacked her. Of course, the person who was driving didn't attack her, but the other 3 soldiers did. She even showed them the marks on her body and specifically said that the attack happened 2 hours earlier. During the phone call, Denisha was adamant that she was going to be reporting the assault, the physical assault, to the Army Criminal Investigation the very next day. But it turns out, 2 days after the assault, Denisha made contact with her uncle via text message, and she shared with him that she had reported the assault to her first sergeant, who then dissuaded her from reporting this entire assault to the Criminal Investigation Division because, according to the first sergeant, Denisha had defended herself, and in essence, she was told, since you defended yourself, you can also be in trouble. Denisha was like, oh, hell no. I want to get the hell out of Dodge. She didn't want to stay in Germany not one more second. So she decided to not make the official report. From that point forward, Brooklyn shared with me that Denisha became depressed and reserved and didn't want to talk a lot. She just wanted to come home. Denisha assured her family that once she arrived home, she would be making an official report. She also told them that she had been in contact with someone back in the military, like back home, like Fort Stewart, and that they were going to try to remove her from her current situation so she wouldn't have to be around the people that attacked her. Well, on August 8th, Denisha video chatted with her husband and the kids, and everything seemed to be normal and fine. Before she ended the call, she said, "We'll chat tomorrow." However, tomorrow never came for Denisha Montgomery Smith. Because on August 9th, back in the United States, Denisha's parents were informed that Denisha had passed away. When Josh's phone rang on post, he had no idea what was going on. When he answered, it was Denisha's stepmother, and she was hysterical. She then told him that his wife was dead. You see, the Army had notified Denisha's mom and Denisha's father, but they hadn't yet notified her husband, and he was living on the installation. About 2 days after Denisha's death, Denisha's god sister posted this on Facebook. This post caught my attention. Specifically, Denisha's god sister was claiming that Denisha had passed away 2 days earlier. However, she said that the family had been notified that Denisha's cause of death was a self-inflicted wound. But the god sister, she was not believing this cause of death, specifically because the family was aware that 3 weeks before this, she had been attacked by 3 soldiers. Mind you, at this point, I don't think the Army knows that the family has video evidence of a physical assault. But anyway, more on that in a second. After Denisha's god sister posts this on Facebook and people start reposting it, the Army makes an official press release, and this is what it says. On August 9th, Private First Class Denisha Montgomery, assigned to the 139th Military Police Company, was found unresponsive in her barracks room on Lucius Clay Kaserne in Wiesbaden, Germany. Emergency services were immediately called and the scene was secured until their arrival. She was pronounced dead on the scene. Private First Class Montgomery was deployed to Germany from Fort Stewart, Georgia, and was scheduled to return with her unit at the end of September. We are saddened by the loss of Private First Class Montgomery. Our thoughts are with her family and loved ones during this difficult time. The incident is currently under investigation by the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Division. A complete and thorough investigation will be conducted. We take any and all accusations regarding this incident seriously and request everyone refrain from posting unsubstantiated information to social media platforms. All verified information will be distributed by U.S. Army Europe and Africa Public Affairs. Weeks after Denisha's death, News Nation Now started to report on Denisha's suspicious death. When News Nation Now interviewed Denisha's family and revealed for the first time publicly portions of that July 19th conversation with Denisha, the self-harm narrative became even more suspicious. But News Nation Now was not backing down, and when they received the casualty report for Denisha's case, well, on October 6th, News Nation Now revealed that Denisha's casualty of death was listed as pending. But what gave? They thought that the Army had officially ruled this as self-inflicted. News Nation Now asked the Army for comment, and this is what the Army said. The Army has not yet made a final determination of the cause of manner of Specialist Denisha Montgomery's death. End quote. They also said they were conducting a comprehensive investigation which will remain open until all leads have been addressed and the medical examiner issues a final determination of the cause and manner of death. Denisha's family has since hired an attorney, and they are working to continue to put pressure on the Army about Denisha's case. A few things have come to light about Denisha's case. While she was living in Germany, Denisha shared a room with a female soldier. That female soldier was actually one of the 3 people suspected of attacking Denisha on July 19th. Denisha's family has received various accounts about who found Denisha and then also how Denisha was discovered. But the official report is that Denisha was discovered hanging from her footlocker. The object wrapped around her neck was a utility belt. On November 7th, Stars and Stripes reported that the Army has officially ruled Denisha's death as self-inflicted. Sadly, Brooklyn shared with me that she was waiting for Denisha to return from Germany to have her big, extravagant, joyous wedding. Instead, Denisha was returned home in a casket draped with an American flag. After Denisha's death, Heather gave Brooklyn a letter that she had been holding for Denisha. The letter was written by Denisha for Brooklyn in the event that she got married before Denisha returned. It was a 3-page letter of love. Brooklyn feels so broken about this because the biggest mystery is that there is no suicide note. And it just doesn't make sense. Why would Denisha write a beautiful letter for her sister's wedding and leave nothing for her family, nothing for her husband, and nothing for her 3 kids? In a case that is already baffling, the question remains, what really happened to Denisha Montgomery Smith? Was this really self-inflicted or just staged in hopes that her family would accept the Army's narrative? Brooklyn told me that it appears that the soldiers who were in Germany with Denisha at the time of her death have all been given gag orders. However, many of them have broken their silence to Denisha's family and indicated that they do not believe that Denisha did this to herself. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. In many cases of self-inflicted harm, the families are always shocked. It is always a shocking discovery. However, in many cases, the information just doesn't add up. And that's where we are with Denisha's case. But listen, in this particular case, Denisha's family, her attorneys, and everyone who is sharing Denisha's story, it is actually working. Because earlier this month, Senator Chuck Grassley has joined the family's efforts, and he is calling on the Army to investigate Denisha's case. He has even given them a deadline of December 20th. I also know from following Brooklyn's TikTok that her family is scheduled to meet with the Army officially in a couple of weeks. In the wake of Denisha's death, her husband and 3 kids, ages 8, 4, and 2, are left to pick up the pieces of their life. And while the 2 youngest kids might not understand the magnitude of losing a mom, the 8-year-old surely does. Recently, while in the presence of Brooklyn and her young son, Denisha's 8-year-old son simply looked at his cousin and said, "You're lucky you have a mommy." All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please continue to share Denisha's story, and please follow Denisha's sister Brooklyn's TikTok page. And listen, don't forget to check out my podcast, Military Murder, where there are over 120 stories waiting for you to listen. Bye.